Susan, what skills do you want to work on?
Lots of them, all of them. Let's see. Open-ended questions. I still feel for me that's a challenge.
Okay. You got agenda, open-ended questions. Pick two more.
Elicit the client's perspective.
Okay.
And summarizing.
And summarizing. All right. Perfect. I have them. Who would like to provide feedback around agenda? Okay, let me ask it a different way. Who has not provided feedback around agenda yet?
I don't know. I might not have. I'll take it.
All right, thanks, Marcia. How about open-ended questions? Caleb? Thank you. Perspective? Oh, actually, Melissa, I'll give you the choice. Summary or perspective?
Perspective.
All right. I'll take summary. Okay, Susan, do you want to read Kirby's case to us?
Sure. You're a veterinarian, small animal practice. Next appointment is Mr. Oliver Doherty, who brought in his 12-year-old male castrated German Shepherd mix, Kirby. He notices that Kirby's energy level is decreasing and he's having difficulty with hind end mobility. You have not met Mr. Doherty before. In unison with obtaining the client's agenda and patient history, your task is to explore Kirby's hind end weakness.
Okay, so in your own words, what do you have?
Gentleman bringing in 12-year-old, probably getting older dog, and concerns probably about just more than just mobility issues is what I would anticipate.
Okay, and how will you figure that out?
To ask him his concerns, to continue to reiterate what really he has brought him in for.
All right, Melissa, how about some advice for you on perspective?
Yeah, it sounds like that this is kind of a senior exam, so figuring out what his goals are.
Mm.
So that's getting more to agenda. What is perspective?
Right, I guess his perspective on how the pet has aged and how that change has affected him.
Okay, so how would you ask that?
Yes. So how has the decreased mobility affected you and, oh gosh, I already forgot the name, Kirby.
Kirby, yeah, it's Mr. Oliver Doherty, I think, with Kirby. All right, what else do you need from us, Susan?
I think I'm good. Mr.
All right, guys.
And Kirby.
All right, go ahead and mute and turn your cameras off, and we'll let Susan get started with this. Remember, Susan, you can call a timeout at any time.
Okay, thank you. Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Doherty. It's Dr. Susan, and you have brought in Kirby. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I understand that you're, what is the main purpose of your visit today with Kirby?
Well, Kirby's just seems to be, going slower on his walks, and I don't know if it's like old age stuff, I guess. So I just I need some help knowing how to care for him as he's getting older.
All right, Susan. Nice work on getting the agenda. Try to keep your questions open.
Okay.
Remember the stems. So what worked with that?
I have to just put in, when you asked yesterday what you wanted for it, I wrote down in my little notes, somebody who's not very verbal. Like I'm pulling out of him, and I'm like, oh, I got what I wished for, because that's where I'm at. I'm like, okay, that's not helping me a whole lot more. That question didn't. So he's just not a communicative client. Well, he feels he is, but it's not helping me.
And why might he not be communicative?
Because I think he's worried about his dog.
Okay, so what skills are you going to use to help yourself and help him, and then ultimately help Kirby?
Empathize with him. Maybe sharing. I know when my dog was 16, there were a lot of concerns.
Okay. All right. So where do you want to start back up? You've just done a really nice summary and you've kind of gotten to the end of this agenda.
Okay, and then I'm feeling like I still would like a little bit more, but okay, I got it.
Okay.
Yep. Mr. Doherty, I've listed the concerns that you brought in here today with me for Kirby, and I can absolutely relate, because when my dog was 16, there were lots of things that started to concern me, and I didn't always know how to I don't know if prioritize is the right word, but really address them in the best way. So could you help me in giving me some idea of what's the full extent of your concerns today with him?
Susan, that was amazing. First of all, tell me what worked for you there.
Connection.
Say more about that.
I realized I wasn't just asking the routine questions, weren't getting there. And I was getting frustrated. I'll admit, I was like, come on, help me out here. And then it was like, wait a minute, he's really upset about this. And I'm not picking that up initially. And so I just connected and then went, okay, just let him talk. So there, you're right. There was that pause that I needed to just, okay, let him be.
Yeah, beautiful long pause.
Yeah.
When you picked it up, he was scared. You said upset, scared, terrified. I'm not sure what the right word is, being in this exam room with this dog.
Yeah.
And what did you allow him to do to make him safe or make him feel safe?
I think for me, it was empathy that I had a dog that I was concerned about. I expressed, my gosh, I totally understand where you're coming from. We do.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. A little self-disclosure, and
Yeah.
then you just let that sit out there. I was so impressed. You just let that sit and sit and sit. And then he broke into a backstory, which made me cry. And then suddenly the space feels safer, right?
Right.
Because now when you ask him a question,
Right.
he opened up to you. So
Yeah.
Susan, just remember, that's because of the hard work you just put in. Okay, would you be open to some feedback from your colleague?
Absolutely.
All right, folks, let's give Susan 30 seconds or less on something that worked well, and then I want all of you to have a chance to talk with Oliver at some point. All right, Melissa, client perspective.
Yeah, this is a hard one. You were trying very hard, I think, to elicit that perspective at the beginning with questions, but the best way that you did it was with your pause. So that was really good because that allowed him to tell the story, and you basically got his perspective in that story. Yeah.
What do you want to try, Melissa?
I think maybe that transition between like the end of the story and then recapping the agenda.
Good.
Okay. All right, Oliver, do you mind leading with just kind of the end of the story?
Yeah, and he I mean, I just don't want him to be in any pain. I don't want him hurting.
Huh. Definitely. You know, they turn into our kids in a lot of ways. We care so much about them. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's hard. It's hard to watch him get old. So we will definitely touch on how we can help him feel better, because that's going to be very important to your relationship. What other concerns do you have?
All right. Would you like to hear from Oliver?
Sure, absolutely.
So Susan, you were working on agenda, open-ended questions, perspective, and summary.
Yes.
And I yeah, I appreciate your hard work, and I think, you know, just really going where it's safe for me, and that really is the agenda items. You know, it's all the physical concerns that are going on with Kirby, and so spending the time to go through those and summarize, reflect them back to me, and check in with me about it, I think's the beginning, and that's huge for me.
Thank you.
Such great feedback. Thank you for even tying it into that clinical outcome of, my gosh, you're now my vet for life. I mean, you form a relationship with someone like this, and
That's true.
that becomes one of your greatest clients, and very, very rewarding for you personally as well.